See, now this is the
what's up?
smell that you need to like make cologne for men out of. So you smell like your toys. That's
We want that. I want a newsprint cologne. You know what I mean? So I can smell like an old school comic book shop.
yeah.
You know, what's up, Streamland? It's been a while since we have been on, but we are back. We're hanging out with some of the guys, and we're going to be talking about our favorite geek purchases of 2024. We already got Tom going ham in the green room, opening stuff up that
Cold open.
you know, he
We
just
should have
couldn't
been a
stop.
cold
He was
open. It's all good.
diving in. I'm like, wait, hold it. So I wanna let everybody introduce themselves, starting with the man beside me up on top. What's up, Tom?
Hey.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Tom. It's Tom. It's Tom.
Hell of an introduction, buddy.
It's Tom.
Wait.
That's all you need. It's all,
Way
it's
to
all
be.
here.
Way to be.
Put all the information in the thing and you're fine. You're fine. It's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I realized
Gotcha.
I don't put my name in the thing. Does
No,
anybody
you
know my
should. You
name?
could.
Yeah, you look like
No,
Elon
well,
Musk
you-
named you there. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, no one knows what that means.
You got to put an X in front.
It's an equation. It's a formula.
So, Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself, brother?
Well, I'm Ryan. You just did. I'm
Yeah.
good. How you doing?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, and what do you guys do? Why
What?
are you on here? Why are you hanging out with me? What brings value to this, folks?
You
I
go
don't
ahead,
know.
Tom. I don't do shit.
I don't know. I just got a link yesterday, and you're like, "Here's a show. Come do a show." I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do a show.
Why the hell not?
Fine, I'll
Come
do a
do a
show."
Come do the show. Why not? We're here. We're hanging out. We're having fun. We're bullshitting.
Yeah,
We're
it was like
bullshitting.
yesterday.
But what's
I
up,
was like-
everybody? Thank you for keeping up.
So I'm trying to
What's
talk, and now he interrupts me. See, this is I don't know what the fuck.
See,
No,
what kind
I
of a host is
apologize.
this?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Mea culpa. All right. But the host is letting the guests speak. Please go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm fine.
Okay. So you know what? William, what's up? Trivia night. Ryan's here. I do have trivia questions. All right. But
Oh my god.
today wasn't going to be a trivia night, you know, but we got our two trivia champs of the year here. So with Wicked being such a big
What the?
part of the end of the year, right? I do have a Wicked trivia question, right?
All right, Tom, you won, I guess, because I
can
don't
you
know
guys
what the
name-
f is going on. Can we
Can
name
you guys
what?
name at least two of the women that have played Dorothy Gale in Oz?
Like two actresses?
Two actresses.
That's playing Dorothy Gale. Yeah, so Judy Garland is the original. Well, not the original, but like the one that everybody knows. And then who else? What other? I got to think of other incarnations of this thing. Where else was there a Dorothy?
Is Ariana Grande Dorothy? I don't
No,
know.
she's Glinda. She's Glinda.
There have been 9. There have been 9. I've been looking it up. Well, there have been 9.
I'm gonna say
Looking it up.
Meryl
I
mean,
Streep.
Yeah, because are we talking about like even just the voice actor ones? Because there's been like animated Dorothys.
We are talking about some of the voice actor ones as well.
But God, why can't I think of another just Dorothy where it's just Dorothy in the fucking line and stuff? I have no idea. I can't because
Off to a terrible start here.
Because like
Just
Oz
don't
Great and
look at
Powerful was about Oz and Glinda. It didn't have Dorothy in it.
Right.
I'm like blanking on the other movies. Oh, The Wiz. So The Wiz was oh my God.
Oh my
Wiz,
God.
Wiz was I'm totally well because there was two. There's the stage actress and then there's the movie actress.
I will take either one.
Yeah, they were both different. So my brain is like cross-pollinating things right now. It's Diana Ross.
There you go.
Yeah, Diana Ross.
Diana Ross. Yes.
Yeah.
And Kiki Palmer did the stage TV one. I'll take that.
Okay, that was
we
the
also have
recent one.
Fairuza Balk. Right, we have Fairuza Balk.
yeah.
That's
from
right. Return to Oz. I knew there was one in there that I was really blanking on.
You got Leah Michelle, who did the girl from the woman from Glee, who did one of the cartoon voices. You have oh my God, the lady who did the voice on Rocky and Bullwinkle. What's her name? Oh,
the Russian girl.
Yes,
that's about all I knew about her. Is that she's Russian.
She did the Russian girl. She did
Natasha.
Right. She did Natasha. She did Rocky.
No, I just said the only Russian name I know.
Yeah, and then there was the recent movie, the animated movie, Legends of Oz: The Return of Dorothy. I don't know who played her in that, but that was about 5 years ago or so. That was the most recent film besides Wicked. Now, yeah.
Jude. Oh my God! Anybody who's watching, please. What's the name of the woman who did the voice of Rocky, the squirrel on Rocky and Bullwinkle?
I don't know. I don't know voice actors at all.
Fucking. Well, she was the first one to do the animated voice of Dorothy years ago. But what you call it? Thank you everybody who's chiming in on the chat. Thank you everybody who's watching us right now on Instagram. I appreciate it. It's been a little bit, but we're back, and we're going to be talking about some of our favorite geek purchases of the year. Tom was already going ham as the show started, so you wanna continue showing everybody what we're opening up, and you want it to rub all over you like a cologne?
It's not even. I've never even opened it. I mean, I've had it as this far out, but I've never opened it like all the way. So I collect Godzilla stuff, and this is called an Urban Aztec Godzilla, where he's a totally
nice,
hyper designed dude. So that's just the box art.
Loving that.
That
box art could, like I said before, it can go.
I mean, you can make that a poster, and it would just be amazing. So I haven't had it actually fully out of the plastic before, but this is how big it is. Like, it's freaking gigantic.
Nice.
I was not really prepared for how big it was going to be, which made me very, very happy, and it smells fantastic. So yeah,
dope.
There it is.
That is dope.
Look at that. I'm loving that Godzilla face, dude. That is nice. I'm not a Godzilla Lego set fan, but that is money, brother. Did you pick that up from DesignerCon or something else?
No, this is from a company called Mondo that does a lot of exclusive stuff for various IP online.
See these guys right here? These guys are
the Mondos. Yeah. What do you got back there with the Mondo, Ryan? Is that something you picked up?
No, I got that a few years ago. That's Rick and Morty back there.
Everybody loves that Rick and Morty shit. I'm not a Rick and Morty fan, guys.
Yeah, you don't like good stuff. That's all right.
Don't say that to me.
You don't like Godzilla. You don't like Rick and Morty.
I like Godzilla. I don't like every Godzilla.
I'm not a Godzilla fan.
Oh, I like it. Listen, I hate me. But I like the Matthew Broderick New York Godzilla. He was a lizard. He wasn't, we don't
discuss that. He was different. No one discusses that.
Really?
Nice try, Diddy.
Why not?
Because it was terrible. It was terrible. It was a terrible number one. Listen, it was a terrible movie. In general, it was a terrible movie. Number two, there is the argument where if you were like, well, take the Godzilla name off of it, and then you get a monster movie. Accepted, yes, but it's still a shitty movie. It's still a bad. It's just a bad construction. It's a bad concept. It's like, hey, how can we get Jurassic Park and Godzilla together? And it's just like, whatever. So yes, without the Godzilla name, it's more tolerable because then it's just monster movie of the week. But it's just not a good movie.
Yes. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, thanks for catching that one there, Tony. Way to be, buddy. What you would call it. So, all right, what do you think? What is a better flick? The Matthew Broderick Godzilla?
Anything else?
Or
It's unwatchable. It's really unwatchable.
The found footage movie.
Yes, that one
where you never even get to see the monster.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Cloverfield. You see the monster. He's at the end.
Cloverfield.
Yeah, he's at the end. You see him.
You don't see
him. But that's a better movie. That's a better movie. That's a better movie. Now, listen. If your thought process of why one is better than the other is simply more monster time, then I get it. You want Godzilla. There's more monster time. But if it's just what's a better movie in general, it's Cloverfield. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's more action. Character
I don't disagree. It's like when people ask what's better, Alien or Aliens, right? Aliens is, it's more action, it's more one-liners, right? It's a little sharper. But Alien is all the world building, it's the drama, it's the mystery. We don't know what the fuck is going on.
Tension.
Yeah, it's the tension. For me, I would watch Alien over Aliens any day if I had to pick one or the other. Yeah.
I would go the other way.
Yeah. And see, that's because you're a basic bitch and you're the action guy.
Yeah, I'm the action guy, dude. It's a great action flick, dude.
It is. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but just between the two, like I've watched, because I've got the I don't know what they call it, the quadrilogy or whatever, the first four. And so I've watched those from time to time. And every time I watch the first one, I'm like, fuck, that was really good. And then I go to the second one, and I'm like, fuck, this is really long. Like it's just too much. You know what I mean? It's just like, really I can see it's in the room. It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, I get it. So there's not enough for me. I mean, I think there's great world building in it within the context of like, he added the Queen, which I think is a great addition. And, there's that kind of stuff. But as a writer myself, as a world builder myself, the world building in Alien, and I'm talking about everything, the design, like the whole thing was so great. And I think Cameron definitely stepped on those shoulders and made a good movie. But I would watch the original over the sequel 9 times out of 10.
All right.
You guys watch the last one?
Tiebreaker. You're the tiebreaker.
Romulus? Yeah, Romulus was so disappointing.
That one was pretty long too. I liked it. I thought it had some.
I liked
some good
Romulus,
tension, but it was a little long too.
Well, yeah, it was. But see, the thing with me is you're right. It did have some tension to it, but it was just carbon copying Alien and Aliens.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just like let's just take everything that already exists and put it in a movie like and call it new.
For this generation to get the new generation sucked in. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But you didn't
which
think
is disappointing to me.
Acid scene was nice. I thought that was nice. I thought it was creative.
It was the
anti-gravity acid scene.
Yeah, but that's not storytelling. That's the spectacle side.
That's a visual.
That's not the storytelling.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I give it. I get it. That's a good one. Yeah. Spectacle. Fede Alvarez is a very good director. I like what he does visually. The movie was fantastic. Like visually, there's no complaints, 0 complaints. But when you get down to it and you're like, well, what story did they tell us? It was just this convoluted pieces of, let's take all of these puzzle pieces that we already know. They're even using dialogue, get away from her. What is this? This is we're rolling into some poor territory here. So, from a storytelling standpoint, it did not work for me. But yes, visually it was fantastic.
I'd have to say Alien for me. First one, better. You said
Alien.
Tiebreaker, Jay? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, that was the setup point, right? That's where it all started from. I'm with it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm not knocking it. I just prefer, if I need white noise, if I need something in the background, I'm putting Aliens on.
100%. But see, you just proved the point. White noise.
Said white noise.
It's just white noise.
Yeah, you're not paying attention.
You're totally right. Yeah. But if you're watching them, like if you want to watch a movie, like there's so much great stuff in Alien. I get it. It's sort of the origin story, right? It's like we get an origin story for the superheroes. It's like, yeah, we already know. But it's done so well, and it's when you're thinking about this as a movie from 1979 or something, it's done so well. And
yes, yes, it holds up to today. It almost really holds up till today. and it's weird how the early 70s sci-fi was really tacky, and then you had Star Wars and Alien pop out of there, and it's just like,
well, you had a moment in time from like Jaws to Star Wars to Superman to Close Encounters to Alien. Like the technology of science fiction and just special effects was just doing like a huge curve up. You know, and then we ended up with Empire Strikes Back in 1980. So it was all on a big upswing right then.
but
I mean, you
I
talk
think,
about not seeing the monster, Jaws, right?
yeah.
I mean, that was.
But you know what? I think one of the keys in those movies that you mentioned was that they emphasized storytelling over the spectacle.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
I mean, was that because of necessity though?
Jaws was
that
necessity,
because they didn't
yes.
have right, because they didn't have the technology.
Right.
So you were forced to tell a good story.
Yeah.
Whereas you start to rely on that technology and the spectacle, and then that's probably where you lose a lot of that nuance of the story.
It's funny. David's bringing up Logan's Run. I think Logan's Run was on the tackier side of it. I really do. You know, you had Farrah Fawcett, you know, lead female in there.
It was a lower,
who's the right,
it was a lower thing. Yeah,
it was more spectacle.
But I think you had good. But again, with Logan's Run, I think you had good story. That was the key. You had a unique story that you were telling. I don't think for me, Logan's Run did not sink the bucket at the end. The finale did not.
Yeah.
It didn't land, but you know, kind of getting there, and with the Sandman, and you know, again, world building. They built a world that was really good, really cool.
Good journey,
particularly for its time. Yeah, good journey. Not necessarily a satisfying ending, but good overall journey. I think gets it in a lot of people's nostalgic, you know, baskets.
I don't know. I think the special effects in Logan's Run was very 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You know, it wasn't polished.
It was not peak.
It was
a very low budget thing.
It was very low budget. But then look at THX 1138, right? Which got a little boost from being a college film, and it was smooth, man. It was smooth, and necessity painted the picture for us. Right? It was a crowd scene. Okay. It was a crowd scene in a fucking subway tunnel, but it looked like it was the future fucking, platform. He used the crowd to cover up so much of the backdrop, right? So much of the scenery that they couldn't afford. You're like, ooh, all right.
Going back to one of the comments, the comment that Tony made, the question, it's the same question I had. Alien Earth. What the hell is this going to be?
He's here.
It's an adaptation of a comic book, the way that I understand it. One of the early Dark Horse comics.
Oh, nice.
Because it's supposed to be before the original movie.
There is no chance that this sits in canon. It cannot.
Oh, okay.
It cannot because I shouldn't say it cannot. Yeah, it shouldn't say I cannot because I don't know how they're doing it. But if people tell me, for example, that Alien versus Predator movies are not canon because aliens are on Earth, then this cannot be canon to the movies, to the films.
Right.
It's its own canon.
You think they put a very old Lance Henriksen up in there?
Dude, that guy is in like a chair, man. I mean, there's no way you prop that dude up. I mean, he's looking old. He's looking old. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll put an actor there and digitally put his face.
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. I mean, you could potentially digitally put him in like they did with the guy in Romulus, but
that's right. But he had passed away.
Correct. Yeah, Lance is still around, but he's definitely on the rough side.
So what was it? I was reading something, or I saw a reel the other day that said James Cameron had actually put black lenses on Lance Henriksen in Aliens, but took them out because he felt his natural eyes looked way creepier.
Jesus.
How up is that, dude? That's like the old man from Phantasm, or he was just like, he was so emaciated, he just looked creepy without any makeup on whatsoever, you know? But the technology went up. All right. Was it you had more passionate special effects people that were driving the tech, like, you know, those that were working ILM, or it was just...
Well, it was you had creative people that wanted to make larger things, right? And think about sci-fi in the 70s, the early 70s and the late 60s. Like Planet of the Apes was a very easy thing to make. I mean, I shouldn't say easy, but even the makeup, right? They only made so many makeup masks, and then the rest were just like pull a piece of plastic over your face and you can be a monkey.
Right.
But like the sets were very easy. Like everything about it was very easy to do. But if you go back further and they're making stuff like Buck Rogers and things like that. So you had all the creators that were watching that stuff on TV now are the people making movies. And you have the George Lucas, you have the Steven Spielberg, you have these guys that are like, well, they did that in the 50s. Why can't we do this stuff now? And suddenly you started to see that creep up just because of the people wanted to make this shit. Like Star Wars, they were making stuff up. They were like, I don't know how to do this. And they had to figure out how to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then that's where ILM officially came from. And, they're the, one of the leaders in special effects. So, you just hit this pocket of like, we need to make stuff. How do we do it?
Like, I remember watching a documentary about James Cameron on aliens, and the sci-fi movie he had done prior to Terminator was really fucking tacky. Dark Star, where it was just a beach balloon, right? And that was just
they were gluing styrofoam things to the walls, painting silver. Yeah,
the Chinese food containers, dude. Yes. They just opened them up and taped them to the fucking wall. But it's ingenious, dude. Yeah. It's great stuff, man. Right? They found a need and they fixed it, and that's what they ended up doing in Star Wars. Right, with Lucas, with the land speeder, it was just a fucking mirror reflecting the dirt underneath it. Come on,
people are doing that to this day.
Yes!
Like to make their cosplay versions of those speeders. Yeah, they're just still using mirrors because it's the best. It's the best way to do it.
It's awesome, dude.
Practical effect that works well. Yeah,
right. I mean, going back to Aliens with Cameron, he only painted the sides of the ships that were shot on camera, right? So they were always seen from just one angle. Right? He would flip the angle. He would flip the footage the other way.
Flip the footage.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. But it was like the back sides of the spaceships were never fucking painted because he had to save money. He needed.
And for what? Right. Exactly. What was the point? Yeah.
Right. I mean, you got that stuff, and I think it was Sunday, Tom. We were talking about this on Calderon's show. There was the urban gritty style of the 70s, right? The post-apocalyptic stuff, right? Warriors, which Calderon said that was what New York was looking like back then. I no, it was amped up, right? It was turned up quite a few notches. You had Escape from New York, which was just
man.
Mad
Max and
Mad Max, dude, right? Oh, I mean, what are they called? That the
a lot of that stuff came out of the 60s and 70s, all that exploitation cinema stuff too.
Yes,
like that, you kind of went through that sort of period of time before we got into the sort of high concept things that started popping in the 70s, the late 70s. Yeah,
I love that stuff. I don't love the stuff that's coming out today, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, everybody keeps talking about Terrifier. As a horror film, it's not doing it for me. I'm not trying to knock it down.
But again, it's Terrifier to me is Romulus, right? Because it's for an audience. It's for an audience, but it's not us. We're not the audience. It's for a new group of people coming up into horror, right? Whereas we're already like, dude, we've seen this for 40 years. We started with Texas Chainsaw Freddy, Jason. We've done this. We've been here.
Right.
There's nothing in Terrifier that we haven't seen, right? So for us, it's like, not a thing. But for this new generation of kids, this is their Freddy and Jason and whatever.
So do you think the fault lies on our shoulders for not teaching them guys?
No, I think because I think that Freddy and Jason, they're all eternal characters. But I think that there's always the need for a generation to have its own identity, its own things to latch onto. And if all a new audience latches onto is what's old, there won't ever be any sort of forward progress in storytelling or anything.
I'm not saying latch onto it, but like Ryan, should they know who the Thundercats are? Right? Should they know who like Silverhawks are or
No, I don't think so.
Indiana
I think
Jones?
those are
that's
pretty
more
obscure.
but that's also selfish, right? Of our generation to be like, listen, you should love the stuff that we loved as
Not
kids.
love, but should they know of it?
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't.
Why not?
What advantage do they get from something that
Because I feel if they don't, then they'll rehash it and they think they came up with something new, which was done way back in the 80s, as opposed to advancing what could have been better than it was in the 80s.
Yeah, but when you're talking about this genre stuff always resets and rehashes. And
Okay.
they always do that.
Okay.
In the 70s and 80s, maybe we had a little bit of extra pop, like we're doing things, but a lot of that was because of the rating system. You weren't allowed to do things in films. You weren't allowed to have boobs. You weren't allowed to have gore, and all of that kind of evolved through the 80s to the point where now you can really do whatever you want. And so now when you can get really heavy gore, or you can literally have like sex on screen, like what is Friday the 13th to these kids where they're hiding everything? You know what I mean? So even if it's a good movie, even if we were like, oh, this is a good movie, they're going to be like, where's the shark, man? Because nowadays they get to see the shark all the time.
Right.
It's chopping people's arms off and stuff. Like, so, you have to understand that in the generation that exists now, everything is now, right? TikTok, video. Everything's video, everything's live, everything's
attention spans.
Yeah, attention span 0. So if you've got to have a horror movie or some sort of a genre movie, you've got to be like, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the thing. Okay. Otherwise, they're going to be like, where's the thing? I don't know where the thing is.
Right, that's indicative of the attention economy, right? Like where you need to capture that quickly.
See, but again, this is something that was done before, right? When you would go to a movie, you'd have 2 or 3 little clips or shorts before the movie was played. It's not something that they haven't done before.
But when we went to the movies, we didn't have iPhones either. We didn't have entertainment sitting on a rectangle in our pocket. We were there for the movie. Yeah. So if these guys go to a movie and it does not take them in like immediately, they're on their phone. They're jacking around. They're Mystery Science 3000 it in the theater.
Yeah, they are.
And even up until the movie starts, let's say the movie is something they're excited for, they're still on their phones until the last possible second when the lights go down, and like Tom said, even beyond that. But they're not paying attention to the trailers. They wouldn't watch those little shorts. They're not watching the little mini, whatever, like not documentaries, but the little like featurettes that they have before the movies and stuff. They don't care about that. They're on their phones until the last possible second.
For me, I think that's half the fun. Like over here, David's talking about, but we are what our parents grew up on, like the Lone Ranger and Tano, Mighty Mouse, Popeye, right?
Yeah, but as soon as we had replacements, we replaced those things.
Yeah, but
like all of that stuff, all that stuff I remember. But for me, once there was Star Wars and Jaws and Thundercats and Transformers and things for me at an age that I could Godzilla. As soon as I could replace those things, I replaced those things.
Okay, so this is for both of you. The new stuff was coming up. You were replacing it. But are you telling me that if Bugs Bunny popped up and you saw a little short, you weren't sitting down to watch Bugs Bunny?
I mean, if it was in a theater, I'd watch it, but I wouldn't care.
Of course.
I wouldn't care necessarily, but I'd be like, oh, okay, there's a Bugs.
So then maybe I'm different.
Again, I'm not like wiping it clean from my slate. Right. I have my Roadrunner and my Wile E. Coyote, and that's still in here, but I'm not buying Roadrunner, Mondo toys.
I'm not.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
So things get replaced.
I remember in 1992 when Cartoon Network first started, I was looking forward to Saturday night and Toonheads and watching those really obscure Bugs Bunny movies that weren't shown on a regular basis. Right. And here we are now. They don't even know who Bugs Bunny is. They
I
don't.
tried to get my nieces to start watching some of my favorite Looney Tunes,
And
and
how
they
did that
sit there
go?
and I mean, they find parts of it funny, but
Okay.
like they're not. It doesn't capture them the same way that it did for us. Like I don't know.
Well,
It just
yeah, everything is how you come up on it, right? And if these people are coming up on Steven Universe and whatever else, they have no concept of what there was before,
Mm-hmm.
unless they're being taught something. Like if I had kids and I was like, yeah, we're not watching this Steven Universe shit. We're watching Batman animated series. We're watching Transformers. We're watching GI Joe. Like if you feed your kid that as a young kid, they're going to come up on that and they'll be into it. But if you're just like, oh, it's Teletubbies now, or it's it's whatever now, that's what they're going to watch. That's what they're going to want to watch. And that comes a lot from social circles. If their friends are like, yo, why are you watching Transformers? Like Teletubbies is on, it'll just be that natural sort of
Steven Universe and Adventure Time are referencing stuff, right? They're having those meta in jokes that are referencing stuff that we grew up on. Like I don't like the Teen Titans Go. I didn't, right? But here's one episode that pops up, and I'm watching it with my nephew, and they had this 80s episode, which was fucking amazing. Okay. They went into the 80s, they found Fall Out Boy, CeeLo Green, somebody else, and somebody else. And the background was that neon triangular landscape that you would see on so many different rock album covers. And towards the end of the episode, they form a Mecha Voltron with the A-Team van, the car from Back to the Future, the helicopter from Airwolf, and like two other 80s vehicle elements. And I'm like, this is an amazing show, right?
that one episode though, that was for you, not for him.
One episode was for me, right? But they're using stuff that came from our generation, right? They're using stuff that we grew up on, finding out about, but they're thinking this is brand new. They're not being taught that this is something that we saw when we were growing up.
Well, all of that stuff, when you see those types of things, that's the people that actually have some brains in their head, because they're making this new thing, whatever the new thing is, but they're inserting elements for the parents that are like, I don't want to watch this shit, but oh, look, he made a joke about, Planet of the Apes or whatever.
Right,
Like the kids doesn't get it. It goes right over their head, but the parents are like, oh, okay.
All the modern animated movies, like if you ever watch them with kids, I mean, not the like most of the Pixar ones and some of the other popular animated ones, they'll make jokes for adults, right? So that when they know the parent has to watch at least part of this with their kid, they're not, scratching their eyeballs out, because there's something for them there.
Right.
But yeah, as far as like the next generation stuff, like it's cool when they reference our stuff, but again, Jay, that was for you, right? So they knew that somebody was watching it with this kid who was older, and maybe now that you saw it and you liked it, you're like, hey, maybe I'll watch more of this with him, or maybe I'll get him next season, maybe I'll buy him the next set or whatever. So now
there was
you
a
get
sequel
attached
to that episode. I was like,
well, now you get attached to Teen Titans.
Where's the
because
rest?
you thought exactly.
Yeah.
But also going back to the Looney Tunes stuff. So those things are also, I mean, any kind of media product, any kind of art is a product of its time, right? So there's certain sensibilities in those kind of cartoons that even if like you would play them for kids now, like some of those things just wouldn't make sense to them because times have completely changed, right? Jokes have changed, the language has changed, so much has changed that even if they were giving it a chance, like it just wouldn't hit the same way.
You want to see the greatest example of this? Space Jam, the movie, right? The first Space Jam, 30 years ago, made like $230 million. Okay, like 30 years ago. The new movie comes out like 2 years ago, it doesn't even make, in adjusted money, it doesn't even make $160 million. Damn. Because none of these kids know what the fuck the Looney Tunes are.
Yeah,
and LeBron James is not Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he's not the same
to this
star.
generation. It's just not. Yeah. So you have a combination of things where it's like kids are like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Yeah, like my favorite purchase of the year is something that goes back to my childhood. And it's a rehash of the Secret
What
Wars.
A nerd.
You know what I'm saying, dude? You know what I'm saying? It's like Captain America was always my favorite growing up. Hands down. I mean, the flagship character to the books I write is a shield slinger, right? The influence is there from the beginning. But, you know, they got the little lenticular insert in the shield. And they've added new figures to the line that were not released when they originally debuted in the 80s.
The ones that you wish they had made.
The ones you wish they had made, right? And now I'm hoping they go and they hit all the other ones that they didn't get to make.
Well, and you buy this one, and that's exactly what'll happen.
Like a sucker, I went looking for this, and I'm excited. I picked it up. I was like, "Oh my god!" Fucking, they gave Iron Man roller skates in the goddamn toy. Stupid. But I went for it, dude. I went for it. I hate Iron Man. I don't like Iron Man. And I picked it up. I picked it up. And I'm. Yes, the nostalgia stuff, the stuff that came. Shit. Marvel Legends did a Crystar figure. Crystar was a really cheap toy line from Remco that came out through Marvel in the 80s. This was like in the, I don't want to say the dollar bin stores. This was in a discount store. But here they are putting this together. And I'm like, I'm with it. I couldn't wait to buy it. But I know this is so obscure and kids aren't going to be going for it.
I just realized this thing came with fire too.
Oh, shit.
Nice. That's got to be in the background of every shot now.
I was like, what the hell is this? Yeah, that's great.
That is great. That is great. Okay, let's see. Tony's coming in here. Have you guys watched the Skeleton Crew? It's like the Goonies.
No.
The 80s movies that we grew up on. I haven't seen it yet, but I will. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're a mark. You're a mark.
Is that
I am a sucker for that stuff. Yes. Yes, but
that's on Netflix?
It's Disney.
Disney Plus.
Disney
Well,
Plus.
okay, you know what? I'm a mark, 100%, right? And Tony, I hope you could chime in on this. What was the best animated series that came out this year? Nothing? Nobody?
Well, I didn't watch too many, so I don't know which one you're gonna say.
All right,
but I saw one that I really liked.
Okay.
It was the Terminator. I think it was Terminator 0.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Right? I thought Blue Eye Samurai was a great animated series, right? But
what's that other one?
X-Men 97, dude, was
X-Men 97 was pretty good.
All over the place. And what is that? A rehash thing from 30 fucking years ago.
Yeah. But intentional.
Intentional. Right? It still sells. It still sells. But you got people looking into it. But, you know, my cousin and his kid were watching it for the first time. Neither one had seen it. They had been beyond that. That was they were 2000. He was a 2000 kid. And
well, with the X-Men are interesting because there's never been a time where people in comics have ever been like, that old stuff is shit. I can't believe we liked it. Like, it's such a hard nostalgia trigger to see Rogue in the green outfit, right? And those kinds of things. So there's always been the Jim Lee X-Men is the peak. So going back to it, it's a no-brainer. Absolutely no-brainer. And then they leveled it up. They used like the Goblin Queen and stuff. Like it was a leveled up thing that, because back in the, when we had the X-Men in the 90s, that cartoon, it was okay, but it wasn't, I didn't love it. It was okay. A lot of people loved it, but they took that and basically leveled it up. And I think they did a wild job with it. Funny thing is that as popular as it was, it did not get very good ratings. Did not have much in the way of viewership, which is crazy. But that's just
based on who.
That's part of streaming stuff. Well, we've talked about this before. Like we talked about, like, what how much did The Acolyte get streamed, and how much did all this other stuff get streamed. So it was too long ago for me to remember what the numbers were. But after it was all done, like, the numbers of it were lower than like the What If watchers. Like, it was a really weird thing. It got wildly across the board good reviews, but as far as actual viewership, it was a very low number of viewership. Now, again, it's streaming, you got to have a specific service, all these things.
Also, yeah, and What If launched right around the holidays. People are home, the kids are home, stuff like that.
Wait, What If Now season 3 launched or no?
No, there's only two of those. There's only
yeah, the one that launched over Christmas last year.
Okay,
like
right on Christmas coming up now.
Oh, okay. This year? This Christmas?
Yeah, this year it's coming up now.
So it's a Christmas show.
It's going to be a daily, but this is the last season. They already said it. This is going to be the last season, and a lot of, I don't want to say the numbers are flubbed, but they're protected, right? We don't know.
Yeah, they're not going to make it look bad, right? That's why when anything breaks any kind of record, you hear about it immediately.
And they know it.
But see, that proves the point, right? If they're not talking about it, there's a problem. Because
but they know they're going to make.
When there is no problem, they go over the moon about it.
Yeah. Right? They know they're going to make the money on this over the long run, right? I mean, come on, X-Men '97 is something that they're rehashing a property here again from over 30 years ago.
What are you making the money from on that? Because if it's streaming, you have to assume then that the thought is we're going to make X-Men '97 because people are going to join Disney Plus to watch it. But if that's not happening, then where's the money coming from? There's merch. Certainly there's merch.
There's merch.
But, toys and stuff. But even that stuff is wildly more minimal than it used to be back in the 90s because there's no outlets for these toys.
There aren't.
It's a very niche.
Well, yeah, very niche. I'll give you an example of something that just came out. So tying in like X-Men '97. Let's say you got a new X-Men fan from X-Men '97.
Yeah.
That fan was able to watch Deadpool and Wolverine a few months later. Fell in love with Wolverine, let's say. Yet today, a game called Marvel Rivals comes out, right? It's an arena shooter, a hero shooter. I think it's a 6-on-6 shooter. All Marvel characters. Wolverine is one of the characters in the game. It's free to play, but you can spend money in it like you wouldn't believe. At some point, I'm sure they'll monetize it in some way. But that free to play model is always like, all right, let me go buy a skin for Wolverine. Oh, maybe I'll buy the Deadpool and Wolverine skin for this character while I play it for free with my friends on Xbox or PlayStation, or maybe I'll buy the X-Men '97 skin. So that's what I think now, the way that they're going to monetize. Instead of buying the toys, these kids who are perpetually online are going to play that game and buy a skin, or they're on Marvel Snap, playing Marvel Snap on their phones. They like these card games. They don't want to buy the physical cards. They're playing Marvel Snap. Let me buy that extra card. And those things end up being a higher margin than a toy.
Sure.
And it's not unheard of. It's not in the droves that they want, but it's not unheard of that some of these people who like these elements will be going to comic shops and buying those comics.
No, I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second.
I don't either.
We've just proven the trickle down to comic shops over the last decade. Like, that doesn't happen. Not in any sort of large wave of anything.
Right. Not in comic shops. I guarantee you they're going to Amazon and they're buying trades.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that.
I wouldn't say that either.
What? Oh my God, we got to look this up.
Because
let's put it this way.
Because the kids are going to be perfect. Ryan has it exactly right. I didn't even think about it. The kids are going to be willing to spend $10 on a skin way before they spend $10 on a book.
And that skin, the profit margin on that skin is going to be greater than whatever book they pick up, whatever trade they pick up, whatever figure you have behind you.
Yeah. Plus, it becomes social currency for them because they're in the game. Hey, look at the skin I got. That's
I got you. All right.
The book has no social currency.
Posting videos of it. Free advertising. Hey, look what I got.
Again, I wouldn't say it'll never happen, but I think it's a very tiny percentage.
It did happen when Invincible came out. That season 1, during those 6 weeks, Amazon said they sold 120,000 trades of Invincible.
Oh yeah, but those aren't the kids.
Right.
Those aren't the kids buying that. That's
Kids are not
us.
Not
buying
That's
all of
that.
them.
adults like us,
Yeah.
or I should say like me,
Yeah.
who didn't know the books. And we're like, hey, somebody said, hey, this is based on a book. You should go get the book.
Right.
That's where we would
Okay.
go back and get it.
But
I don't think it's a kid.
now to not to go against what I
Yeah,
said,
especially at the price points. Yeah.
Yeah.
to agree with what you guys are saying, my nephew knows Galactus not from the comics, not from the cartoons, but because he was in one of the Fortnite seasons.
Exactly.
He's like,
And I
"Oh, you
guarantee
got
you he'll pay
Galactus?"
$5 for that skin, but not for the
I was
book.
excited. I was excited. He knew Galactus was. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, did you watch the Silver Surfer on Disney Plus, Pop?" He goes,
No.
"No, he was on Fortnite." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
God damn it.
His sister knew. His sister knew who Galactus was.
Yeah.
So, are we going about the wrong way to reach them?
I mean, if you expect any kid 18 and under to prefer the medium of a trade versus a mobile app or a game or even short form video, whether that's a YouTube short or TikTok or whatever, because there's kids watching entire movies and TV shows on TikTok and all this. So if you think that they're going to prefer a physical item where that's all that that physical item gives them, right? One story here in a book versus an iPad or my phone that I can have a billion stories on. And I can, when my attention span fades in 30 seconds, I can swipe over and go to something else. Like you're mistaken. Under 18, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we're in a really weird. I was thinking about this the other day because I've been watching a lot of documentaries and stuff about making movies and things. And I watch a lot of shitty movies that people make too. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a shitty movie, but they made it, and I'm watching it. And I'm watching it on
shitty stuff too. Yeah.
And I'm watching it on like Amazon. Like, how did this happen? And so we're in this weird position now of what I call old media, which is like paper, comics, books, magazines, like any of that kind of stuff that is really not interactive. Now, not that a movie is interactive, but the movie takes that story that within a comic and gives it more of a personality, because now you have an actor saying the lines, giving it a little more, that personality to it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we're really at a point, and I'm watching these documentaries. These guys are going like, yeah, I made this movie for like 10 grand. I'm like, 10 grand, I'm making a comic book. Like what? So, if I could get 10 grand and make like some sort of 30-minute adaptation of one of my comics and put it on Amazon, I start to change the dynamic of everything that is what I do.
Going back
and
to
I put my stuff in front of way more eyeballs. Now, again, I'm not talking about a trickle down effect to be like, oh, I need all these Big Dog Ink books. Like that's probably not going to happen. But it would be one of those things where it's like, hey, Tom made a movie. And my circle of people are like, Tom made a movie? Like what? And then that's 6 degrees of separation. Tom made a movie. Oh, I made a movie. Oh, I made a movie. Hey, we should make a movie together. Grow. Yeah. It's the exact same thing as comics. I made a comic and you made a comic. He made a comic. Let's make a comic together. Grow. But in this society, in this world, in this society that we live in, everything is video, visual, quick, fast, accessible. And comics, books, magazines, that kind of stuff is the opposite of what the kids that are growing up with want.
We're the equivalent of snail mail, right?
Yes. Yeah. It works. It does the job, but it's snail mail. Correct.
Yeah. They'd rather text. Rather I am.
2 points to what you were saying, Tom. One, going back to Terrifier, I believe it cost him somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 to make the first Terrifier movie.
Yeah.
The first Terrifier movie. But that's also because that character, that clown character, had made 2 cameo appearances in 2 prior movies that he had worked on. All right. So there was some lead up going into that. That's one. Going to with what Ryan was talking about with the games and the skins. Do you guys think it would be easier to reach a newer audience with a fighting game where it's the same 6 to 10 characters, but can be reskinned with independent characters to act as a doorway for our stuff?
I think that only works if you can integrate the character into existing things. Like if I put Critter into Fortnite, I win.
Mhm.
If I put all of our characters into their own game as a game, it
Not
might
gonna
be okay, but it's not going to be a win. It's just going to be
Right.
that exists. Whereas if
Right.
if kids in Fortnite are like, what's that cat girl? What is that? I need to know what that is. That's
Mhm.
the win. So it's the immersion into the larger culture elements that is really necessary for that.
Right, right. Because now you have Call of Duty having boys skins,
Mhm.
They
right?
got shit ton of skins. They got
And
Michael Myers.
right, it
They
had
have
the effect that
Terrifier.
we want with
They have
comic books.
Terrifier in Call of Duty.
Really?
Yeah.
See, it had people watching the boys. They didn't know what the fuck the
Actually,
boys were.
and I'll be honest. I bought the Shredder skin, the '90s, the '80s movies Shredder. They made a skin of it, and I bought it like a sucker because I wanted to see it on screen. It was just, and he has animations and he has his own, sound effects and all that, and it was just cool. I thought it was amazing. So, so they got me there too.
Here we go. We got Joe pulling teeth to get my kids to read anything on paper. They will read stuff on YouTube all day.
But shit,
Right.
I'm like that. I'm
Right.
42 years old. I mean, I know I don't look it. I mean, but I'm 42 years old,
Yeah,
and
it's funny. You said that. Tom moved, but the fart sound came from my stomach. That's
so
great.
listen, I would rather read on my iPad because I know I don't have to have something physical that I'm going to have to pull and then
Right.
put away. That's just me personally. I'm not saying that most people my age are like that, but even some of the books that we've made, like to see them digitally in full color, bright as hell
Mhm.
on an iPad screen, to me they just pop out. Like the last New York versus
They're
the
more
World book.
vibrant.
You
Right.
remember how much I was talking about how that popped off of the screen?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, it just hits different, especially when you, and this is gonna sound silly, but you have a book that you're flipping through. I can zoom in on a panel, right? And inspect that panel in a way that you can't do
With the book. Right.
with a physical book. I mean, you could hold it up closer, right? But as young as I am, I have to start holding things further away too. That just for me that it just works in a different way. It
Right.
gets me more engrossed. I don't know.
But that goes
And then
back to
there's
what
me
Tom
who literally bought a big magazine about movies today.
No, don't get me wrong. I'll buy media. So like the last book, the last big media book that I bought. This was actually at Comic-Con. I hope I'm not exposing anything back here. All right. Marvelocity.
Okay.
Alex Ross's works, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, this is a big format book, right? So, the artwork in this is huge. It's not something small. This is hardcover. This is more coffee table book than anything.
Yeah.
But the smaller, I don't know, the smaller print is just harder to enjoy for me.
Yeah. Well, and I've
Yes,
actually
yes, he
had
did,
that thought
David.
process of like potentially making my books bigger, just literally making them bigger, even if it's just
Album
sort of
format.
like the black label,
Mhm.
those things.
Yeah.
I've thought about that. I've thought about like just going a little bit bigger. Like some of these omnibus books are just like an extra inch bigger in both directions, which just allows the pages and all the lettering to get a little bit bigger too.
Yeah, and,
Um,
and the artwork that you guys are making, and like this is the stuff that needs to be seen, right?
yeah,
So I think it does lend to that for the larger images. I mean, obviously you have to figure is it cost effective or anything, but
right.
like the images they just pop better on those kinds of screens for me. Larger pages, things like that. So I like going back to what we were saying before. I don't think a kid 18 years old, unless he gets gifted something, is going to make their first jump into a comic book from a character they've seen somewhere. They're going to find a digital medium to try and consume that, even if they know it's available physically.
Yeah. But
Especially
is it? Okay.
disposable income. So we're surrounded, maybe not in Tom's background here, but your background, my background is showing disposable income, right? These kids don't have as much of this disposable
Right.
income. So better that they go online, watch an ad, and then watch a short clip of something, or shit, even an ad in a ebook or something to consume their media, versus paying for something that is physical and is going to take up most of their disposable income. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny, right? We're advertising to kids that have no money.
So speaking of
Right.
that, here we go. Here we go. This is something I've been talking about for years, guys. Years. Dollar Tree today has its first issues of DC comic books now on their racks for $1.25. They are where people are going. And I don't know about you.
5 issues for $1.25?
No.
Is that what that
one
says?
issue.
It says first
No.
issues. First issues.
First
Okay.
issues, right? So the first issues of DC comic books are now displayed. Excuse me, I'm on Bleeding Cool. So if anybody wants to know about it, first issues of DC comic books are now displayed at Dollar Tree locations across the USA for $1.25 each. Find first issues of DC comic books at Dollar Tree for only $1.25, a bargain compared to the usual prices of $3.99 or more. Over 38 DC Comics #1 issues specifically created for Dollar Tree, offering fans a wide selection at budget-friendly prices. Comics are
What do you mean
polybagged.
specifically made? Those are Rebirth books.
Of course, they're reprints.
How is that specifically made?
They're reprints. They're reprints printed probably on cheaper paper. All right, but they're polybagged to prevent damage, which is something that was part of my pitch, featuring those same stories as those sold in comic stores, but with different ads and diverse titles such as Aquaman, Batman, Green Lantern, Harley Quinn, Wonder Woman, and more are available nationwide.
Okay, here's the only reason why this works, and they actually were smart about it this time. I have to give them credit, because they tried to do this type of thing with like Walmart and Target and all that. And all that they ended up doing was sending the collectors in to get those books, because they actually put new content in it. And so the collectors were like, oh, fuck, I need all that new content. And they went and scooped up all the books. So if these are legitimately just the same book with just different advertisements, like not even new covers, collectors aren't going to give a shit. And that'll actually leave them on the shelf for people to find. So I give them credit for that.
Great. That's great. Yeah.
And, you know, another thing those Dollar Generals or Dollar Tree have is small action figures of some of these characters as well. $1.25. They're only about 2-inch figures.
All right, so let's look at this for a second. Let's look at this for a second from DC. Okay. 38 units times 15,000 stores across the country is 570,000 units.
Yeah.
Printed at bulk.
And that's if you send one of each to each store.
One setup. Yeah.
Just one issue of each. You're saying 38 titles.
38
titles.
Right. One of each of those
copy
titles.
of each. And they're not sending one copy.
No. Oh my God. Even if they're doing this at making 25 cents each, they're making dough, guys. They're making dough, man.
That's not the point, though.
Yeah,
and honestly, they're not making dough. They're not making dough. This is not even a blip on the radar of this stuff. No. But if they can make this to where they're actually selling, that's the key. Because 500,000 units, who gives a fuck? How many millions of people? 100 million people in this fucking country, whatever it is, some crazy number like that.
343 million.
So 500,000, who cares? But if you can make this work to where the next order is now 1 million units, now you have people coming into the brand, into the industry, into the collecting, into the that's the value. Is that this is just advertising for them. They're like, let's get our shit out in stores where people can see it again. And, you know, maybe we pick up a little bit of cash on the back end so it doesn't cost us anything. But
I would liken this to the drug dealer giving you the taste, right?
Right. Of course.
As the kid, you're walking through with mom or dad and you're looking for something to grab. And it's like, oh, this looks cool. Mom, can I get this? All right, it's $1.25. I'll let you grab it. And now this kid, next time he comes back, will want another one. You know, you're giving
But
them.
we're talking about right now. Excuse me, we were talking earlier about, you know, giving away free games. Can this combat that?
No.
You're still gonna have to spend money on this.
There's
So
still a large
appeal.
there's still a large problem with this too.
All right, you're spending reprint money.
No.
That's
I'm
been
talking
a-
about I'm not talking about them making money. That's irrelevant. I'm talking about there's a large problem with this.
What?
That we're not thinking about.
Talk to me.
Okay. So they go in here and they buy this book for $1.25. Right? And they go, "Oh, mommy, I love Wonder Woman. Can I get more Wonder Woman comics?" Sure. How do we get more Wonder Woman comics? Oh, there's a comic book store. Okay, let's go to the comic book store.
Right.
All these comics are now $5 a piece.
Yeah. That ain't happening. Sorry, son.
Right.
I'll get you another one at the Dollar Tree.
Right.
Right. I get that. But now they're introduced to the character.
True.
Right?
Yes. But again, that goes back to Ryan's thought process where it's not about the comics. It's about just the brand. It's about, okay, Wonder Woman, we're not buying you a comic, but is there a toy? Is there a video game? Is there a movie? You know, we go in that regard. Here's a Funko Pop Wonder Woman, but the comics are still being left out in the cold, even in this regard.
Yeah.
It's like, mommy, look, that's the guy from Fortnite. Can I get that?
Yes. Yes. All right. It's a great entry point at 15,000 stores, Joe. 15,000 stores.
Assuming they're doing them at all, right? Is that what they're saying? They're doing it in all the stores?
Maybe there's test stores, right? Maybe you know, there's certain, like, we know not everything gets rolled out across all of the Target and Walmart stores, right?
I was at a Dollar Tree a week ago and I didn't see these, so maybe they just started, or maybe that's not one of
a lot
the
of those books in that photo originally came out with the price point of $2.99. Yeah, they did. Comics are cost prohibitive. Some of the worst entertainment time to cost ratio. Yes, they are. And I always talk about, you know, the financial barrier of entry. I'm always talking about that. And here, going back to $1.25, right? It is trying to get some of that disposable income from people. Right. So, okay, you know what? Here's $3. Go buy 2 books. Here's $4. Go buy 3 books. They're happy.
And then when you grow up and you have your disposable income, then you as an adult can have your favorite geek purchase of the year, which I never revealed mine. I'm going to right now. Okay. And it's quite heavy, but yeah, I should have worked out before this. Give me the single, Jay.
Hold on a second. Let's see what you got. Hey, now, buddy. Hey,
this goddamn thing. Now, I will admit, Secret Admirer got me this, but it's still my favorite geek purchase.
Very nice.
This opens up. I'm not going to open it up now, but
does the motorcycle pop out of it?
No, the motorcycle is actually separate. It's up.
Gotcha.
Here.
Okay.
But that Bale Batman does fit in here.
Very nice. Joe loves
where are the dang lights? Now I'm not going to remember how to turn this thing on, of course. Anyway, you get the picture.
Yeah.
So shout out to that Secret Admirer. He knows who he is.
Don't let the missus find out, son.
No, when the missus saw this, she just said, "Wow, wow." She couldn't even argue with it.
Way to be. That's what the missus said about Galactus. Yeah. But you know, we're talking about, Joe's bringing up, you know, the price point. We're talking about the financial barrier of entry, right? Could that thing that's going on right now at Dollar Tree lead to more Ryans who will spend the higher price points later on in the future as they get older?
For sure.
Sure, it
but
can, yeah.
It's not going to be through the original pipeline that you guys have started through, or that we started through. It's not going to start at books and go to TV shows and movies. It's going to go the opposite way, right? It's going to start at the digital media, grab one of these. Oh, maybe I recognize this character from the game.
Okay.
Or if I grab that $1.25 book out, now I'm going to go look for it online. You know, I don't think the kid's going to keep going back to the physical books.
We don't know, right? I mean, For them, it's an experiment that they can play with because they have the money to do that. We don't. They can play the long game. We can't.
Right.
We can't. They've got all of that matter.
Well, but again, I think the point here is that DC isn't trying to get people to buy comics. That's not the point. They're trying to introduce their IP to kids in whatever capacity they can. And this is a very $1.25 is a very easy. Yes, Johnny, I'll buy you a Wonder Woman comic. And you can take it home. Yeah. And then it's, oh, look, Wonder Woman, you got to imagine that the ads in there are going to be for, hey, Wonder Woman skins on this video game, Wonder Woman movie, Wonder Woman toys. Like that's
Wonder
the
Woman
ad.
video game and development.
That's the ads inside. You're not going to get the ads like we used to get in the old days for like, Frogger and Nintendo
and
Power. It's going to be hyper specific ads for whoever's
the
reading
sea monkeys through the mail.
Yeah.
And that's understandable, but this is still a great thing because you have 15,000 stores.
Well, it creates an awareness of comics.
Yes.
No one's going to dispute that.
Yes.
But the problem is that there's nothing in the comics saying this is how you find more, right? Go to a comic book store. There will be no ads saying go to a comic book store. Guaranteed. You probably won't even have the old
DConline.com.
Whatever. You'll have DC Online. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But that's all. That's what I'm saying. Hyper focused, specific, for us. Yeah. So that's the thing is it raises awareness of comics. Yes, without question. But that doesn't drive anyone to comic book stores. There's still a lot of work to get from that kid buying Wonder Woman comic to get him to a comic book store. A lot of work.
Now, what if this opens up the door for more stores to carry comics? There's Dollar Tree, Dollar General. There's Ollie's.
Oh yeah, of course.
Job Lot. There's Big Lots. There's
Family Dollar.
There's Five Below, right? There's Family Dollar. There's all these other discount stores that eliminate that financial barrier of entry and go back to making this product an impulse purchase. Sure. And I think, in my opinion, that is where comic books have always succeeded as an impulse purchase.
Yeah, but none of this matters, Jay, unless Wonder Woman #2 shows up on that rack. 3, 4, 5, which they can do if this works and they just want to reprint shit. It works. They can do that if they wanted to do that. But the further away, in a retail sense, the further away you get from the entry point, which is #1, the harder it's going to be to sell. Even at $1.25. Why are we buying number 27? Where's #1?
And it's not a coincidence that all of these are #1s.
Yes.
Right.
So
are they going to have #2s next month? Or they're just going to have #1s for 3 months.
Here's the hook with polybagged books. Okay, we'll take back the unsold copies because they're not damaged. And here's the credit for the next run of stuff.
Like newspapers even. But they just trashed those newspapers, right? So they used to rip
They just need the top seam.
Yeah.
Right. But here they get it back and they can use these books that have been returned as a marketing expense for something else.
I guarantee you they don't take the books back. It's going to cost them more to ship that stuff back to them than to just get rid of them.
They will not even want it. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Donate them to the library, which is what you should do. Donate some old stock to the library. See what they do. Maybe they give it out to the kids on a day. Maybe the kids sit there and read it. Who knows?
Right. So here we go. Huge point about no direction on where to find more. Right. Yeah.
But this is the thing. If we're talking IP, which is the entire purpose of this, there is place. You put a QR code on the back of that thing or inside the front cover, that kid most likely will have access to a phone or an iPad, and they will have a place to get more content, just not more books, which is why we keep saying that it's not about the books, it's about the IP. But that kid will say, hey, maybe if I scan this, it goes directly to the Disney, not Disney, but it goes directly to the streaming app. Now, if DC had a Disney Plus size app that is as popular, which they do not, right? I mean, they have an app, but it's not as popular.
No. We were going to the supermarkets as kids. We weren't buying the Archie Digest, but we knew about it. We remember it being there, right? And now when Archie shows up on the CW or he shows up on Netflix, right, maybe we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, but again, that's IP. That's not selling comics.
That's
right.
That's
selling IP. That's branding for the
yes.
correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is why that kid picking up the Wonder Woman issue, if you do put the QR code inside, it takes you to the website to show you where the 2 Wonder Woman movies can be watched, right?
So, Tom, what can we
Nothing.
learn from this?
Nothing.
You can't say nothing.
Nothing.
Of course.
That
No,
you need
nothing.
$1
Because I already told you
billion.
what it is. It's a marketing expense for the IP. It has nothing to do with marketing of comics themselves. I mean, it does, but it's a minor percentage. It is an awareness of comics, but unless there's something inside that says this is how you find more, go to your local comic shop, which I would bet money that there isn't. Do you want to know why? I'll bet you it's not in there.
I gotta look for them now. Go ahead. Let me
Okay.
Let me hear
Because if you go to the comic book store, you might end up buying Marvel comics or Image Comics or Dark Horse comics or
Right.
some adaptation of a TV show that they don't own.
Right.
They don't want you going to comic book stores because that's competition. But if they can give you Wonder Woman and everything that's in there is DC Comics or DC Media, whatever, that's a marketing expense for them.
Yeah,
So I'm betting that that's what they are. And
I
so
can't agree with that.
So here's what you learn. Here's what you learn, Jay.
Go.
What you learn is, well, we don't know yet, right? Because we have to see what sort of the result is of this. But let's assume that it's good for them. Let's just assume it's good. What we learn is you can create marketing through your comic book, and you can do it in a large scale if you can find a store willing to do this. However, the returns will be a problem for us. So if we were to find a way to do this and print 500,000 units of our stuff and send it to dollar stores, and they were like, well, this shit didn't sell, take 3/4 of it back, we're done. We're done.
Right. Yeah.
We're over. Whereas DC can just be like, we don't care. Put them in the trash. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So marketing is what we're looking at here. You have to look at the marketing element.
Okay.
And that's getting our stuff in front of eyeballs that wouldn't necessarily have seen it. So that would mean for us, not comic book stores, not comic cons, not wherever else. It's taking it and putting it somewhere where it's an unusual place to be seen, right? And in some cases, that's just simple. Like, okay, you know what? I do a horror comic book. I'm going to take it to a horror con. Those people are there for movies. They're there for TV. They're there for the actors. But you can at least present your zombie thing to that hyper specific audience. But there's nothing for us to do. Like, there's no way I could be like, I'm going to take the Big Dog Ink brand and reprint all these number ones and send them to Dollar Tree, because these kids don't know what the hell they're looking at. They don't know what it is. It has no relevance to them. With DC, they have all the brand names: Batman, Superman, Harley Quinn, whatever it is. People walk in, they see it, they have an understanding of it because they are pop culture. And while we are pop culture too, we are an unknown, aspect of pop culture because we don't exist in the mainstream. So that's it. That to me, that's all there is to kind of look at.
Okay. I want to show this for a second. I'm going to go back to this for a second. They said comics are polybagged. Point number 3, comics are polybagged to prevent damage, featuring the same stories as those sold in comic stores, but with different ads. So they've reskinned the product.
Sure.
Right? Resolicited the product, and they sold new ads for it. So they've
no. They're not selling ads. This is all DC ads.
In-house ads.
Ads. Yeah.
In-house ads.
Yeah. Because selling an ad for anything else is pointless.
But in-house ads that they don't have to spend that money elsewhere.
Yeah, but the in-house ads drive the product. Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman.
We don't know what's in the book.
I'm telling you, this is what's in it. I'm betting money.
I guarantee that
Godzilla versus Galactus. I will bet you right now. All right.
No, he doesn't want to lose Galactus. He's not taking that.
I can't lose Galactus.
Listen, I have a Dollar Tree near me. I'm going to check out these books, and we will prove the point on the next podcast.
Here's the other actual problem that I just thought about.
Go.
And to us, it's not a problem, but to the general populace, it's going to raise eyebrows. Why is this stuff bagged so that I can't look at the inside of these books? What is on the inside of these books that they don't want us to see? That is what mom is going to.
I'm just thinking of prevent damage.
I don't care.
If
it's that's what I just said. For us, that's our quest. That's for us, Jay. But to mom with a kid,
right, what don't I want to see? Right?
Why are they not letting me see what's in this book?
And that's the parent that'll think that because they grew up in a time where stuff that was bagged was probably stuff that was not appropriate. Correct.
Correct.
So are there codes? Yeah, there are codes on here, right? There's rating codes. What is this?
Yeah, but they're not going to know what the DC rating codes are.
Right, the dot on the right hand side over the Superman. Isn't that an
that's
age?
the price?
It says $1.25.
That's the price.
$1.25.
That's the price. Okay.
Yeah. But see, look at that Superman, right? It's like he is going to look what parents.
No. See, you're looking at the red dot. I'm looking at over Rebirth. There's another white dot.
That's the new DC logo, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also the number one. It's the DC logo on the left. Side. It's number one on the right. It's the issue number.
Can't zoom in anymore there.
It's the issue number.
I'm trying.
Enhance.
We did these books like 8 years ago, guys. We know what they look like. There's no ratings on these books. I think that, you know what? I think they used to put a rating of some sort on the UPC code. I want to say there was usually something there, but what you're looking at that top right is the number one. It says number one.
It says number one. I'm looking at the Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
that's as far as it goes from
number one. It's just a number one. It's the DC logo on the left and issue number one on the right. That's all that is.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I was saying, if you're looking at that Superman, like with the red eyes, right? Parents are going to look at that and be like, "Why is Superman evil right now?" They're not going to know what the hell's going on. There are weird choices being made, and then when you polybag evil Superman, you're gonna create more questions as to like, hey, why are we not being able to see what is going on here? Yeah.
You know, this thing is fucking zooming.
No, you just had it. You just had it. It showed number one right there on the left.
Yeah, it's a small hash. It's a small number sign, and
look at the bottom left.
A blocky number one. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So what about over the UPC? Does that say?
I want to say that there used to be some sort of a rating on the UPC, but I don't remember. Okay. But again, it's very small, so it's very, you wouldn't even see it.
Right.
Yeah. Unless you know that to look for it, you won't even see it.
Right. Okay.
So I like it. I like it overall, but I think there's a lot of problems that go with it. As usual.
Right. Right. And they only bought it because they are marketable names. They won't buy Critter. They won't buy Shield of the Interceptor.
No. At least not without like 100% guarantee returnability.
Right. Which would break us.
Yeah. At that quantity of printing books, it would be.
And there's no way we can leverage that against other stores like Dollar General or.
No. Well, I mean, you'd have to see, but you'd have the same. If you did it in one place, you'd have the same result in another place. You're not gonna reinvent the wheel by going to a new location.
No, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to generate more.
Right, but I'm saying if you did it at Dollar Tree or Dollar General and they sent it back, and you sent it to Target and they sent it back, and you sent it to Walmart and they sent it back, like it's all going to be the same response. If one doesn't work, it's the same response for all of them. It's like those guys that scammed out Indiegogo backers to build a company to send their comics to Walmart and never fulfilled the books. And those books just absolutely died on the rack because nobody knew what any of that was.
Right. They did show up, right? They did have those wing boxes, the wing caps, because that's what that is set for. That's set for, right, the side wing of an end cap.
Yep.
But they were able to put that on the floor. The other ones, they were placed randomly if they did make it into a Walmart. And that's the part of me. That's the stubborn fucking part of me is figuring out the angle to get in there when I should be.
You can't. There's no angle. You need to start thinking about it. There's no angle. If you want your IP to be in those types of places, your IP has to already exist in other media, whether it's TV or video games or something along those lines. You have to take your IP and turn it into something else for the general audience to understand even what it is. Oh, there's an Interceptor cartoon, whatever it is.
Get it into Roblox.
Right.
That's so when you're better set with your.
How do we do that? How do we reach out to the Fortnite, the Roblox? How do we?
You're not getting into Fortnite. Certain IPs pay Fortnite to get in. Fortnite buys a lot of IP, but certain IP pay Fortnite to get their stuff in. So let's say you have one good character. The Fortnite's like, hey, we want to get those guys in. It's like, all right, well, can you take 5 of my other ones? We'll give that one to you for free. Or can you put these IP as well? Or can you have a little dance?
I pay Fortnite to get my shit in there as a skin. I would. At this point, after this conversation, I think, depending on how much, it could be cost effective. It'd be great use of a great marketing spend.
That would be a rather large spend.
It's going to be an astronomical spend.
I think Snoop Dogg says what? It's $250,000
for 30 minutes.
To get a mention in his songs.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, there was a thing where he was like, "Yeah, I'll come into your video. It's $200,000, and you got 15 minutes. So when I get there, you better be ready." You'd be talking about songs? You'd be talking about easily 5 figures to get your character skinned into
probably more
like that. Probably more, I'm just saying at least 5 figures, maybe high 5 figures, but 5 figures.
You also got to figure, Jay, these have to be programmed in, so they've got to pay people man hours to use the art that you give them to make it work in the game, and then test it and make sure it doesn't create any bugs and it doesn't break the game. So even if you get something, it might be 8 months before it comes up, So
at some point, there's got to be a fucking starting line.
Go to Roblox. Create your own character at Roblox. Name him the Interceptor. Run around and talk to kids. Hey, you want some free candy? Buy this book, and I'll give you some free candy. Come with me into this van, and I got some free comics. No, but in all seriousness, like Roblox is probably the one game that is played by the most children in the entire world.
Right.
Because to play Fortnite, you have to have at least a little bit of money to be able to buy a console of some sort, or to have it on a TV, or to play it on a laptop, or an
I don't think kids
phone.
are the target though.
Not for him.
For any of what we're talking about, I don't think kids are the target at all. Anything that we do is aimed at least 20 somethings and up.
Okay.
And so you have to kind of think about, okay, what do 20 somethings do? And how do I get in front of 20 something people in that regard? That's why all this influencer stuff is so huge.
TikTok.
Because these influencer people, this is all they fucking do is they sit around and talk about shit. And so if you can find somebody with 1 million followers to say, Shield of the Interceptor is awesome, 1 million people just saw that.
Right.
That's why all this stuff is such a literal business right now, which is just people monkeying around. Yeah.
You got to get on the grift, Jay. Just go on.
It's the grift. It is the grift.
I know. I just don't know how.
You have morals. Get rid of those morals.
I think you're right.
I mean, it's you're thinking like how is it easiest to make money? Well, throw your morals to the wind.
Yeah.
But that's not what you want to do. You want to get your artwork in front of people. That's a different story. Any other purchases this year?
Yeah, on the wall I got a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. My favorite Ghost Rider came in. I'm a 90s kid.
Can we see it?
No, because then I got to pull everything else down. He's holding up.
He's a stacker. Jay's a stacker.
I'm a stacker. I like my wall.
Up to the ceiling.
Wall. The ceiling?
I mean, it's not like you couldn't prepare for this by having pulled it out beforehand.
I know, but I got home at 7:45. I had enough time to take a quick shower.
Anyways, let me show you my next one.
What do you got, kid?
This hits the nostalgia.
Go.
This is the PlayStation 5 30th anniversary limited edition PlayStation 1 retro
That's the
controller.
first order joystick, right?
This so I don't know if you, Jay, you're a PlayStation guy, so you remember the original PlayStation 1,
I
right?
do. It had a cable. Where's the cable?
The cable's inside. So this is my original PlayStation 1
Yeah. Oh, you
from
still
the
got it.
90s. Yeah, this
Very
is the
nice.
original. I don't have the controller. I don't know what that is. I don't know where the cables are. I don't know where the power cable is, but I still have this.
Oh, nice. Do you see the guy? Do you catch the guy who does the mods? Oh, I gotta send you
No.
the stuff, dude. You could get
Well,
that up and running, baby.
It's more of a decoration at this point. But so yeah, this is the 30th anniversary controller
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
match that, that colorway or whatever.
Yeah.
So that I think that was my other favorite purchase this year.
Purchase of the year.
Oh, and if you have a PS5, they just released an update to have the startup sound like the original
Yes.
PlayStation 1.
Yes, I remember hearing
which
that.
is the greatest sound of all time.
Yeah. You know what I want? I want DLC content for the Spider-Man 2. That's what I want. That's what
Not gonna happen.
Why not?
It's not gonna happen. They've already said it's not gonna happen.
Oh, they came right out and said it?
Yeah, they said straight up, we're not doing it. They're working on Wolverine now. So speaking of Wolverine, there you go. That's another one. If you play Marvel Rivals and you fall in love with Wolverine again, or after Deadpool and Wolverine, you got another Wolverine, full-fledged Wolverine game, officially licensed by Marvel, coming out in a couple of years. And that's going to be one for us because that's going to be gory. It's going to be violence. It's going to be rated M or whatever.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
I just hope it's that open world environment that we get from Spider-Man. If it's not,
It's not going to be that open because Wolverine doesn't have the same method of traversal. Like the reason Spider-Man is open is he can get from here. Yeah, but
on a motorcycle.
That's not what you think of when you think of Wolverine. Is he's going to travel through a city on a motorcycle. No, you want him tearing through small rooms and people.
So,
right?
Dude, imagine Wolverine GTA style on the motorcycle with the claws out, ripping people as he goes up the fucking street. That would be great.
That's called Road Rash. That game existed on the Nintendo back in the friggin' 90s. No, I don't think you could do that with Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine is about getting close, right? That's why he's got knives. You got to get visceral. You don't want to.
Yeah, until they decide that they shoot. I think I give it 10 years before those claws shoot out of his hand.
Well, they gave him that fire
and then it's
power.
like hooked to his tendons, right? Like, and
he did fight. He did fight that one bone. What's that one in that? What movie? X-Men 3. That guy that used to grow the bones and snap them off.
Oh,
and
it was
throw
a
them
girl.
out.
Yeah, Marrow. Yeah.
No, there was a dude. It was a dude, a bald dude.
I know, because they didn't want to. They had to diversify, but it was a girl. It was originally a girl. Marrow. Yeah.
So they undiversified it and made it a dude.
Yeah.
They made it a dude. Yeah. And then in the cartoon, they made him a black dude, and he was Storm's nephew.
Oh wow.
Yeah. After X-Men 93, they revamped the X-Men series. It became, I think it was called Wolverine and the X-Men. And they had a very specific style, and they were all in college, but the college was, or late high school, and it was the mansion, the X Mansion, and
the college years.
The college years, yes, William Spike. Spike was the name of the kid instead of Marrow, and it's funny because it keeps coming up with this rave scene for Rogue, where it was
that's X-Men Evolution.
That's X-Men Evolution. Excuse me. Yes, not that came out before Wolverine and the X-Men. X-Men Evolution. Yes, where she was dancing like the girls were dancing in The Craft, and it was just okay. You lifted it. It worked. You know.
Tying it all together. Fairuza Balk, The Craft.
Yeah, Fairuza Balk. Wow, way to go, kid. Way to go. And on that note, you tied it together at the 1 hour and 30 mark. Way to be, brother. Way to be. Before we go, William, they just introduced Marvel Legends Marvel figure. Looks good. Okay, I didn't see it today. I will check out the stream. I'm a toy guy. I love the toys. Speaking of toys, before we get out of here, tomorrow is the last day of the Shield of the Interceptor action figure on Kickstarter, and we still need to raise $35,000 to get it made.
No, we good.
Can we pull it off in the next 26 hours? Only you can decide that. But yeah, it's not going to happen. I want to thank everybody who has helped us get to this point. We're going to run it back, much to the chagrin of many people that I know. We are going to be running it back. And
see, this is what I mean about the morals, Jay. Drop your morals, throw a Confederate flag on that shield, and you're making 40 grand in a day. You know what's crazy is that it probably would work. Except you'd have to change because he's too woke, and he's black, so he's woke. So you'd have to change him to white. I don't know. I'm gonna have to make a lot of edits here.
Stars of the Interceptor.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
It's sad.
Yeah. I know.
But we're gonna run it back. We're gonna run it back. We got stuff coming through. So, anyways, guys, thank you for joining us tonight, hanging out with everyone. Thank you all who have been hanging out with us on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube for Comic Book Streamland. I do appreciate it. Fellas, you want to let everybody know where they can find you? Start with Ryan. Down here, Instagram, Elduro, UnstableComics.com. Yeah, that's it.
Way to be. Tom.
Oh, I'm joining Blue Sky. I don't know what the F it is, but I'm going to join it. And I'll have a really long elduro.bluesky.elderscrolls.com.
Okay. What about you, Tom? Where can they find you on Blue Sky? I mean, no.
I'm on Blue Sky. I have a total of 3 posts on Blue Sky. Okay. So if you really are down for that kind of punishment, go to Blue Sky. You'll find us there. Gotcha. But yeah, we're all over the places. Facebook is where we start. Everything else, we're in all the places too. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. We're in all the places. You'll find us. Whatever you do, your social media, you'll find us.
Way to be. All right. And you can find me at unstoppablecomics.com. All of our social media links are on the website. Thank you for following us on Comic Book Streamland. Please remember, we don't have rich uncles. We don't have VC money behind us. We don't have major sponsors behind the books that we make. So if you want to keep seeing us make more stuff, please buy our books. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.